day and night. I toss and turn, I keep stressing my mind.
Hey guys, Victor here with yet another brand new video. This time I'm going to talk about a different country, of a whole entire list of countries of where the UFC should go next. Obviously, the UFC is an international business. They've been to plenty of countries all around the world, but there's also been plenty of them that they have not gone to yet. And one of these countries that I'm going to talk about right now is one of them that they haven't gone to yet, but should consider definitely in 2021 after all this coronavirus business is in the back door and in the rear view mirror of our past. Now, this country I'm going to talk about right here is Portugal. Now, I talked a little bit about Portugal in my last video talking about Spain. Portugal and Spain are connected to one another. Portugal is west of Spain, and it's also a very beautiful country that a lot of people, a lot of tourists like to go to when it comes to vacations, when it comes to road trips, when it comes to different things like that. Whenever people think about Portugal, they think about the language of Portuguese, which a lot of Brazilians talk because that is the official language of Brazil. When people think about Brazilians, they usually tend to confuse them and say, "Oh yeah, if you're Brazil, you're Portuguese then." No, you're not Portuguese. Portuguese are the people from Portugal. Brazilians are Brazilians, but both Brazil and Portugal have the official language of Portuguese because the official language of Portuguese comes from the country of Portugal itself. Now, when I'm talking about Brazilians, there's actually a lot of Brazilians that do live in Portugal. There's over 150,000 of them that do live in Portugal. That number skyrocketed up from 43% from 2018 to 2019, which is a huge step up, especially if we're talking about percentages. That's close to 50%, just 7 numbers off right there. So there's a lot of Brazilians living in Portugal. It makes a whole lot of sense. Brazilians speak Portuguese. If they don't want to live in Brazil anymore, the next best thing, besides the United States, would be Portugal, just because you go to Portugal, you speak the language, it'll make life a whole lot easier for you over there if you can be able to find a job pretty fast, find a living situation pretty fast, etc. So why should the UFC go to Portugal? It's easy. Well, if you go to Portugal, it's a beautiful country. Two of the biggest cities there is Lisbon and Porto. Lisbon, there's the Atlas Arena, and then in Porto, there's the Bach Arena, or should I say it right? It's the Super Bach Arena. I just left out the super there by accident, but both of these arenas are pretty large, definitely fit a good amount of fans in there. And also, if you decide to have an event over in Portugal, you'll definitely end up tracking a whole lot of Brazilians back in Brazil trying to watch the event, and a whole lot of Spaniards as well trying to cross that border in order to watch the event live in person, because both those countries are connected to one another, and a lot of people that live in northern Spain are pretty close to the border, so it'd be a pretty easy trip to make it over to either Lisbon or Portugal. Like I said, Portugal is a pretty small country. The OC's been in plenty of small countries before. The main population right now is 10 million plus. So like I said, Portugal's a pretty small country, but it's an absolutely beautiful one as well. Plenty of beaches, plenty of authentic cities just like Lisbon and Porto. These aren't the cities that you think of, such as New York City, Los Angeles, Dubai, where you have all these fancy skyscrapers and all these fancy looking buildings right here that everybody'd like to go into. But these are modern, they're not modern day cities, they're old style cities that still have these buildings from way back when in the past, maybe 100 years or even 200 years down in the past. These buildings are still there. They still got castles, all these different old buildings, but that's what makes these cities so authentic, which is why I think the UFC should definitely think about going there. There's many beaches all around the whole entire country of Portugal, all around the coast, which is why surfing is such a big sport in Portugal. It used to always be soccer, but not anymore. Surfing continues to rise when it comes to popular sports in demand within the country. Whatever beach you go to, you're most likely going to see people surfing over there. And a lot of the UFC fighters would definitely love to have that possibility if they were to go to Portugal. Being there for a whole entire week for a fight camp, and even after a fight a day later, you might want to go surfing after that. Dana White would have an absolute blast having one of his looking for fight episodes over in Portugal as well. Even though I'm not so sure if the MMA scene is so hot in Portugal, that's why it's so important for the UFC to go down there. It's unknown territory. There's never been a MMA event held in Portugal, so say if the UFC does have an event down there, they're more likely going to gain a lot of attraction, and also presenting the sport of mixed martial arts to Portugal will end up increasing the interest within the sport, and definitely getting more fighters, more soon-to-be products from Portugal to start rising up the ranks, especially start getting that country to develop in the MMA gyms, develop in the fighting, etc. It doesn't always have to revolve around soccer. Doesn't always have to revolve around surfing. So whenever you think about Portugal, you think about Cristiano Ronaldo, you think about soccer, soccer, soccer. But if the UFC were to go into that market, introduce itself to the country of Portugal, I guarantee you people will definitely be interested in MMA to the point where they'll actually want to engage in it themselves. And eventually somebody that will end up being from Portugal will join the UFC or join a major ranked MMA promotion. And even after the career is over, they might build a gym in Portugal, and that gym will become popular enough where they'll be getting people from the masses trying to go there to train MMA. And next thing you know, maybe 10 or 20 years from now, Portugal might be the next hottest country when it comes to mixed martial arts, and the UFC can definitely make that happen. So these are all the reasons why I believe that the UFC should go to Portugal. It's a small country. It's absolutely beautiful. Besides the two largest cities, you'll get small little towns, small little cities, and a whole lot of nature that you can definitely take advantage of. And imagine having a UFC card headlined by Amanda Ribas or Gilbert Burns, Herbert Burns, Rafael dos Anjos, any of these hot UFC prospects, even Amanda Nunes. I think she would really like the. No, I think she would really have a blast headlining a card in Portugal, or even fighting in Portugal, or even going there, teaching a couple classes, and getting that whole women's MMA in Portugal started off on a very hot note. So I think a lot of Brazilians in Portugal would definitely flock to the masses in order to go to a MMA event in Portugal, just because there's over 150,000 of them that do live in Portugal, and that number increases by the year as well. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I hope I convinced you guys why the UFC should go to Portugal. Hopefully Dana White, I very highly doubt it that he'll be watching this video, or he'll even watch this video at all in the future, but there's many reasons why the UFC should go to Portugal, and hopefully my reasons were good enough. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Take care, stay safe with this COVID-19 situation, and stay blessed.